It's so messed up how racist people like this chick gets to live a long, full life while innocent black people are murdered for their skin tone. And like Emmett Till, who died at 14 just because a white chick wanted to murder a black person. She accuses him of flirting with her, which which during that time was illegal for black people to do, flirt with white women because, you know, racism existed and still does. Uh, Black people had to, basically speaking to a white person was a death sentence back then, and it wasn't even that long ago that it was like that. And racist white people want to pretend like racism never existed. It's just insane. Uh, she even admits that she lied about it all, which just means she just wanted to watch a black kid die.
Carolyn Bryant Dunham, the white woman who accused Emmett Till of making advances towards her, has died. 14-year-old Emmett Till was kidnapped and brutally murdered by Bryant's then-husband and his half-brother in Mississippi in 1955 over the allegation. The two
1955, not even 100 years ago, that this happened. What, like 60 years that a black kid could be murdered just for a white person accusing them of something? And what, worse, injustice is supposed to be blind? No.
two men were acquitted in his killing by an all-white jury, but later confessed in an interview. The case gained national attention after Emmett Till's mother allowed Jet magazine to take and publish photos of her son's mutilated body in an open casket. The horrific image shocked the nation and served as the catalyst for the civil rights movement. Years after Till's death, Dunham admitted to fabricating parts of her story, although she was never charged with a crime.
Why wasn't she charged with the crime? Why wasn't she charged with falsifying information to the police? Because she's white, and back then, white people could do whatever they wanted to black people because black people were nothing but animals to white people, nothing but people that needed to be exterminated.
Professor Davis Houck joins us now. He's a professor of rhetorical studies at Florida State University, and he helped found the Emmett Till Memory Project. He also co-authored a book about the media response to Till's murder. Professor Houck, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me on, Jim.
Sure. I'd like to start by asking you about sort of any interactions you had with the Bryant family.
I did. Back in 2009, word got out that the family was shopping a memoir. And I edited a book series with the University Press of Mississippi, and so I figured, why not? I wrote a note to the family. I had an address, and I sent it. And of course, I didn't figure I'd hear anything. Well, a week later, I get a phone call from a woman who identifies herself as Marcia Bryant. Marcia Bryant is Carolyn Bryant's daughter-in-law. And Marcia Bryant, first of all, wanted to know, how did you know we had a manuscript? And then proceeded to talk my ear off for about a half an hour about her mom being innocent, and the family's really never spoken. And so I just tried.
Wow, the entire family believes that her mom is innocent of murdering a 14-year-old because they're racist as well. I mean, the mom admits to lying, and her daughter or granddaughter, whoever it was like, "Oh no, well, mom, um, she's innocent. Blah blah blah. She didn't do anything wrong. It was just a black boy she lied about." It's like, what BS? And Emmett Till would still be alive today if it wasn't for her. Emmett Till would just be 82 years old and, live a good life to see at least some decent changes in society. Uh, where, black people could actually somewhat get somewhere. But no, he had to have been murdered, and none of those people put in jail because white supremacy is real.
Tried to keep her on the line, keep her talking. But I'll never forget how she signed off as we were getting ready to hang up. She said, your letter came in the mail, and another letter came in the mail with it. And in that letter was a death threat. And so what I gathered from that was the family worked very hard over many years to protect her, because I think those death threats were not uncommon.
All right, so.
Oh, boo-hoo. A racist white person is getting death threats because they had an innocent child murdered. She deserves the harassment.
Carolyn Bryant herself hardly gave any interviews after the case, but if we have this right, in 2008, she reportedly told a historian by the name of Tim Tyson that key parts of her testimony were not true. So how does all of that figure into what her daughter-in-law was telling you? And what do you make of it?
Well, the FBI investigated Tim Tyson's claim that Carolyn Bryant supposedly recanted to him, and they did not find that evidence credible from Tim Tyson. And this summer, the memoir, the unpublished memoir, leaked. And for me, what's interesting is in that memoir, she sticks exactly to the story she gave on the witness stand on September 22nd, 1955. So I take her at her word, and her word, we know, is really just a bunch of lies. We know this because.
So you really can't take her at her word if you know her word is a bunch of lies. Yeah, she's going to want to, claim innocence, even if she, at some points in time, is willing to admit that she lies. She has something to protect, and that's that she's, an innocent white chick who did nothing wrong.
On September 2nd, just 2 days after Emmett's body was discovered, she was interviewed by a lawyer, and in that kind of deposition, she indicates what happened in that store. And Emmett did not put his hands on her. He did not talk dirty to her. He did not talk fresh to her. He did not talk about being with white women before. And so those were lies that she concocted on the witness stand 3 weeks later.
Though, even if he talked fresh to her, or, said some dirty things to her, that does not mean he should have been killed. If he had, touched her inappropriately, then yeah, he should have been, reprimanded and, for that. But as a kid, he shouldn't have been murdered by a group of racist white pieces of shit just because he was a black kid. And honestly, they didn't even care if he was guilty or not. All these people wanted to do was murder black people because that's all what racist people want to do. All they want to do is murder black people, and they're happy about it because that's the only thing they care about is murdering black people.
I just want to be clear about this, Professor. Never in the years after this did she ever express even a syllable of remorse, correct?
Well, in her memoir, she does do that, but she never did it in front of a camera. She never did it in a public venue. So you're right.
Yeah, why would she be truly remorseful? If she had any iota of, like, humanity or sympathy or compassion, she would have never accused him of whatever to begin with, knowing that people would murder him for it. And the same thing still happens today, where white people will say black people are doing something and try to get them killed. It's like with the Central Park chick who pretended and lied and saying that a black person was attacking her, hoping that the cops would come and kill him.
the Emmett Till community, the family, wanted to hear from her directly, but that never happened.
All right, so the Bryant family obviously has had to live connected to this with the legacy. I'm just curious, have any of the other generations said anything about this in the almost 70 years since?
They really haven't. They've kept a real tight lid on her story. What I'll be interested to see is in the days and weeks ahead, did Carolyn Bryant perhaps leave instructions for somebody to talk? And we'll see. We've long wanted the family to say something, but again,
even if she didn't leave instructions to telling the family to lie, they're going to lie anyways because they're racist people.
The sons, the grandkids, nobody has said a word.
It's so important, obviously, to continue to tell the story of what happened. You have the Emmett Till Memory Project that you helped found to help do that. Can you just give us a little bit of insight into what the Emmett Till Memory Project is all about?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So we founded this project back in 2015. It was a joint project between the University of Kansas, my colleague Dave Tell, and Patrick Weems at the Emmett Till Interpretive Center, and my colleagues here at Florida State. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to educate a new generation, especially younger generations who are growing up on smartphones and who can go to the Mississippi Delta as well as Chicago and study the case from their phones. So it's a GPS-enabled app that takes you from site to site and tells the story, along with archival images, as well as pretty detailed narratives of what happened at that particular location.
Professor Davis Houck doing some important work, making sure.
It's obviously just sad that a 14-year-old was killed just because some white chick said a lie. It's like you would think, you think justice isn't blind and that, everybody will get a fair trial, but that's not the case, and it will never be the case for quite some time still because of the extreme amount of racism that still exists in America. This was 1955. This wasn't 1855, 1755, but 1955. It wasn't that long ago. It's just mind-blowing at times to think about.